Welcome to Everyday Linux User. In today's video, I'm going to show you 15 things you should do after installing OpenSUSE Leap. Now, some of them are cosmetic and some of them are necessary. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is update your system. Now, if you're using GNOME, it's probably already going to do it in the background anyway. And if you open up the software app and go to updates, it may be updating in the background. It may be slightly slow to load, but once it's finished, it will ask you to restart your system. You should do that. It's going to take a little while to do, but it's the first time that you have to run it, and it's perfectly fine after that point. Number 2 on the list is setting up Wi-Fi. Now, if you use Ethernet, then you don't necessarily have to do this, but if you want to use Wi-Fi to connect to the internet, you're going to need it for other things later on in this guide, so you may as well do it. Go to here, click on Wi-Fi, and choose the Wi-Fi of your choosing. Number 3 on the list is setting up Bluetooth. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone. This applies to people that have got Bluetooth devices such as keyboards, mouse, audio, anything like that, headphones. So to set up Bluetooth, go up here, click on Bluetooth, Bluetooth settings, turn Bluetooth on if it isn't already, and then it will find a list of devices, and all you've got to do is double click on the one you need. In this case, I've already found it, and so I'm just going to switch on the connection.
Disconnected.
And that is that done. Number 4 on the list is install OPI, and I'm going to take this opportunity to show you an application called Cockpit. So within a browser, type localhost 9090, type in your username and password. You want to turn on administrative access. And the Cockpit replaces Yast, which was previously part of OpenSUSE, and is a web-based system for managing your system. Now, the great thing about this, it's got a terminal at the bottom, so it saves you opening a terminal within your desktop. What we want to do is install OPI, and the reason for installing OPI, it gives you access to so many more packages. So within OpenSUSE, you can just type sudo zipper install OPI like that. Another thing you can do is just click on the packages tab, click on install and search for OPI, and you can install it from this place here, and that will install OPI for you. Now, as I said, OPI will give you access to a load more packages. Number 5 on the list is to install Codecs. Installing Codecs will give you the ability to watch proprietary video formats, listen to proprietary audio formats, and things like that. And because we've installed OPI, we can just use OPI to install it. And all you have to do is type OPI Codecs. And it asks if you want to install Codecs from the Pacman repository. Now, it might ask you to whether you want to install the Pacman repository. And that's why I've also said to install OPI, and I've put OPI Codecs on the list because it sets up the Pacman repository for you. Enter your password. Now, it shouldn't install anything because I've already got Pacman and the Codecs installed. But you can see it is offering me the option of installing the OpenH264 repository, and there's nothing to do. Number 6 on the list, install fonts, and this is where OPI becomes useful again. If we do OPI and type fonts, and what we want to do install is the Microsoft fonts like Arial, Trebuchet, Times New Roman, Courier, and stuff like that. You can see it comes up with a whole list, and there's a lot more than that. But number 11 on the list is fetch MSTT fonts, but number 11, and this will give you Arial and all the Microsoft fonts. But you can also scour the list to find other fonts you want. And it gives you a choice of places to install it from, so you can just choose the top one and it's going to install the Microsoft fonts. The next thing is to set up a printer, and this is number 7 on the list. And so how do we set up a printer? Well, I've got a HP printer, so under packages, I know I need a application called HP Lip, and you can see I've already got it installed, but if I didn't, I can install it. But with HP Lip installed, if you haven't got a HP printer, then you obviously don't need HP Lip. But with GNOME, you've got the printers option. But before we do that, what we also need to do in Cockpit, especially for network printers, is go to the networking tab and turn off the firewall, because it won't find your network printer. Now, you should be able to just add groups to your firewall and it should find the printer, but I found that's very hit and miss. But if we go to printers, unlock, add a printer, and then you just click add there. And that's done. Now, word of warning, if you get a username and password pop up and it says you haven't got permissions, what you need to do is you need to go down to accounts, find your account, and then we click here, edit user. And then in here, you're looking for LP. I've already got it. And then what you'll need to do is log out and log back in and then do the thing with the printers again. That gives you the permission to add in your printer. Number 8 on the list is setting up Flatpaks. The best place to do this is within Cockpit again and go to the terminal. But from here, we're going to search for Flatpak, setup. You're looking for this first one, flatpak.org/setup. Click on OpenSUSE. Now you may be tempted with one-click install. This doesn't work very well in OpenSUSE 16 if I've not actually got it working at all. So you're better off following these instructions. So copy this, paste it into the terminal, press return. And then you're going to copy the second command, paste it in. There's a double click on the paste, by the way, within that terminal. You see I've already got it. Then you need to reboot your computer and then Flatpaks will be available in GNOME software. So if we search for Spotify, you can see that is there as an option. Next one on the list is changing the wallpaper. Now, to create wallpapers, what I generally do is go to Gemini. And I generally pick a film, but it can be anything you like. So create a landscape image of the Dukes of Hazzard. But make the characters penguins. So what I do now is I download the image and I rename it. And you can put it wherever you want. So in my case, I put it in the wallpaper folder, save like that. Minimize, right click, change background, add a picture, and in there find the image. And there we have the Dukes of Hazzard, but as penguins. Number 10 on the list is adding this dash to dock in. The way I do this, I go to GNOME extensions, and in this case, dash to dock. And I prefer having this on the screen, so because normally with GNOME, it's you have to press the Windows key to get that to appear. And you can choose that one. Just basically pick the one you want, and then you click install, and that will appear in your extensions. And you see I've got two. I've got the dash to dock animated, which is this one, like that, or you've got the normal dash to dock, which is this one, which is more static in nature. Number 11 on the list is installing LibreWolf. Now, because we've installed Flatpak, this is easy, but the reason for installing LibreWolf is it's a hardened version of Firefox, which means it's more security conscious than Firefox. So all we have to do is type LibreWolf. And you can install it from Flatpak. Now you can see that would be an install button. You would just click that, but I've already got it installed. Now it's worth noting, however, that you will want to go back to Cockpit, and when you go into the terminal, this might be fuzzy for you. It was for me. So what I did was in the settings for LibreWolf, go down to there, and I disabled that option there. Number 12 on the list is grouping the icons. And what do I mean by that? Oh, within GNOME, it's basically making it like Android where once you install an application, you put them in these little boxes, and all you have to do is put one on top of the other, and it'll create a group for you. You can rename the group, and so you can see for here I've got all the Office tools under one thing. It just makes the whole thing tidier. It is cosmetic, obviously it's not a necessity, but it just makes it easy just to browse your system. You can of course search for the application you want. So in this case, if I wanted to search for LibreOffice, you can do that as well. Number 13 on the list is the firewall. Now earlier on you might have seen that I turned it off, but you need to make sure this is turned on. So go to networking and slide that along. If it's limited access, you're going to need to go to administrative access. Slide that on, make sure that's enabled. You also might want to edit the rules. You can go in there if you need to edit rules at any point in time, add other services in. Number 14 on the list is backups. So what we want to do here is go into terminal. If we type sudo snapper list, you can see OpenSUSE does that for you already, but it's worth noting that what this is doing. So it's taking a snapshot at various times when you do something important. So if something goes wrong whilst you're doing something, you can restart your computer, and within Grub you can pick up a previous version that was working before. So that means you've always got a working version of OpenSUSE. And number 15 on the list, and the final one, is you can see I've got a minimize and maximize button on my Windows. How do I get that? Well, this is a simple one. Go down here, type in tweaks. Go down to Windows, maximize and minimize. Now, not everyone wants this, but for me, I like to be able to minimize and maximize Windows without having to double click the thing at the top. So I find this useful. And hopefully you found this guide useful, because that is the end of the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Linux User.